did nothing to take care of these dogs. Nothing.
Mm.
They were starving to death. Louis put on over 30 pounds when he went to the vet. He's out there playing. Thankfully, he was adopted, but not before we had to move him up north because we were fighting to prevent her from getting the dogs back. She doesn't need to be in possession of any animals.
She watched her dogs lose weight, lose hair, and get eaten alive by fleas. And did nothing. Now she's in court for animal cruelty. One dog passed away and one dog was rescued, taken care of, fed, and recovered quickly, proving this was neglect, not some mystery illness. Her excuse? The vet told me to feed them more. Her lawyer? Too much exercise. The prosecutor is visibly upset, and the details of the dog's health is horrid. She gets probation and a class, and still gets to live with her daughter's cat. Watch and share what you think the judge should have given her.
Your Honor, states that my client owns a cat. It's actually her daughter, who's 18, Jada Evans's cat. And my client did have permission to be around the cat and have the cat in the home from the magistrate at the beginning of this case last year. It was last fall. There have been no incidents with the cat. The cat is very healthy, and in fact, the cat recently went to the Southfield Veterinary Hospital. We have a copy of the receipt and the medical records. We also have a copy of Jada Evans's birth certificate showing she's 18. Your Honor,
So she's taking care of her cat at home with her mom.
right,
And the
So
cat's gotten fed.
right.
It's not
Very
missed any
healthy, we have the
meals.
records to
Okay.
look.
I believe you.
So, Your Honor, we are requesting that the cat can remain in the home and that my client can remain, and that my client can remain in the home with the cat.
I'll change it to not her care, but to her daughter's care.
Okay, I just wanted to let the court know that my client is truly remorseful, and Your Honor, she did try her best to care for the dogs. They had this issue previously with the dogs. They went to the veterinarian said just feed them more food. So she did do that, and the dogs got back into shape. We don't know why that didn't work this time. Your Honor, I do know that when the state or the county took the dog, the surviving dog, that the dog did get bigger after it was fed, but there's a difference. The dog was caged with their vet, and so the dog was not expending calories. And with my client, the dog was very active and running around. And so, Your Honor, I'm not saying that my client is not at fault. She did plead guilty. But I just wanted to explain the situation. My client's not a person that's cruel to animals. She's had many pets throughout her life. She's never had any issues with them. They all lived long lives and died natural deaths at the end of life. And Your Honor, this is an aberration. And
Yeah, I don't understand what happened to the dogs. They claim that they just weren't fed right.
that's what they claim, and Your Honor, we really don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know. Because they did feed the dogs and they fed them more, which is what the veterinarian told them the first time they took the dogs. I think really the main neglect here was just that they didn't have the dogs in the regular appointment to get checked up. And I do believe they probably would have gotten the same advice they got the last time, which is what they did, and it didn't work. But it's not like they're sitting around, she was sitting around torturing or starving the animal. She loved the dog, and she has more to tell the court about that.
Okay, what would you like to say?
I hope it be, if I read in the state, in moment like that. It really have it back. But it's to them.
Well, I know you say you fed them. But if you feed them and you still see they continue to lose weight, that's when you gotta take some more action.
Did the first time. Followed their original advice. When they were very young, they were very small as well. Gain weight. They don't want to fit when these machines up to their adult food, but quite a while after. It I do what age. I know the outcome of course. What you but what I do with the time.
And the strange part about it is how the one dog that survived managed to gain weight after being fed food again. So I just, there's a question as to if you were doing everything, why wouldn't that have worked?
Well,
Because it worked
and
at
Your
the
Honor,
vet.
Dog was at that location, so it wasn't expending calories, whereas at her home, the dog was roaming free in the backyard, in the front yard. And it was very active, so it expended. calories. So there is a
How
difference.
much calories was it expending though? I mean, it would have to be running buck wild, doing zoomies all day long to work off that kind of, if he was,
Very active dog. Both the dogs were.
okay.
Your Honor, we understand she pleaded guilty and
Yeah.
she's here to be sentenced. We just wanted to explain, she's not a person who's cruel to animals and purposely set out for dogs. She loved those dogs.
Well, they
She
had
did-
parasites and stuff too. Wasn't just the weight.
Your Honor, apparently there was a flea problem in her backyard that she didn't know about later. So I believe that's part of it. And dogs do get parasites from time to time. It's just a matter of what they are and what happens. I do believe she would have gone to the vet like she went the first time with these pets. They would have gotten the same advice. And who knows what they would have.
And immediately scheduled it for it. And then you have to.
Well, all right, Mr. Shockley, what would you like to state on behalf of the people?
Yeah, this is the defendant comes before this court and takes absolutely no responsibility for her action. All I hear is excuse after excuse. Let me tell you what happened here, and I'm more than ready to show you the photos as I was on the day of the jury trial. Henry was missing multiple clumps of hair across a lot of his body. There was fleas jumping out of the body bag. He was so infested with parasites that were coming out of his rectum after death. He was dehydrated, his eyes were sunken in. The other dog was in close to the same shape, infested with parasites. Infested. Did nothing to take care of these dogs. Nothing. They were starving to death. Louis put on over 30 pounds when he went to the vet. He's out there playing. Thankfully, he was adopted. But not before we had to move him up north because we were fighting the defendant to prevent her from getting the dogs back. She doesn't need to be in possession of any animals. She takes absolutely no responsibility for her actions. And Your Honor, I appear before you every day. You know I don't talk like this often. This is just ridiculous.
Your Honor, she does take her responsibility. I mean, she pleaded guilty and you heard her plea, you took her plea. She's very sorry. I mean, look at her. She's trying, she's remorseful. This is not a person who's saying I didn't do anything wrong. And she has not said that. I think that's a mischaracterization.
Yeah, but she did say, well, I did what they told me to do. It worked the first time. I don't know why it didn't work this time. And she probably, I'm gonna give her benefit of some doubt. She probably did try to feed them. But at some point, if an animal can't gain weight because it's sick with fleas and other parasites that maybe are affecting it to the point it can't eat, you gotta take them in. Because
You're right.
just feeding them extra food is not gonna fix that.
I have no dispute with that, Your Honor. Your Honor, I do want to state, however, for the record, we did not fight them with regard to the custody of the dog, because you know,
I know.
we did file an agreement that we were not gonna fight them, and we did surrender the surviving dog. So I don't think it's correct that we fought them and that they had to take the dog up north because we fought them. That just didn't happen. She signed a document agreeing to give the dog away. So that's not a fight. I don't think that's accurate.
The people actually surrendered the dog. She refused, so then we had to file an action. She has the right to refuse. I'll give her that, but these dogs didn't need to be in her care. And as far as going to the vet and saying the vet told me to feed him more food. In the police report, we have defendant's statement saying that she took the dogs to the vet on X, Y, and Z date. We contact the vet says she's never showed up. The story about a vet telling him to feed the dogs more, I have no proof of. We go to the vet, they can't verify it. I should have this.
Your Honor, I do have records of when they did go to the vet in my file. We were gonna use them at trial. I also have And I believe we served those on the prosecution when we thought we were going to trial. We also have a envelope full of receipts of all the food that was bought. So, Your Honor, my client's not lying. And I'd be happy to show those to the court.
Well, I'm not trying to try the case right here. I'm just listening to the allocution from both sides. And the bottom line is there's no winners here. The dogs certainly were not winners. She's not a winner. I don't, there's nothing good that could come out of a situation like this. And, it's not that I disbelieve that she tried to buy food for the dog, but I mean, at some point the dogs were ill beyond just not eating. And if you could see that because parasites are jumping off of them and hair is missing, you can't have a dog look like it's got mange and you don't do anything. Because that's what the mange looks like. It's, hairless and losing hair. I don't know why she wouldn't have just taken it at that time, and then they could have fixed the parasite flea problem and then gone ahead and then started feeding, because maybe then the dog would have felt good enough to eat. I'm assuming the dog just couldn't eat because it didn't feel good enough to eat, even if she bought it food.
Your Honor, my client says the dogs did eat every day, they just didn't gain their weight. So I don't know what happened, I think we'll never really know. And Your Honor, she's taking responsibility, she's sorry. She has no criminal record, she's willing to do whatever the court requires of her. We're asking for the mercy of the court. Look at her, she's not a person saying, I didn't do anything wrong. And so on, she's admitted wrongdoing with the plea, and she is very sorry and remorseful. I mean, she's crying. These are not tears of fakery. These are sincere.
All right, well, the bottom line is, well, we're gonna have to do something here. And a term of probation seems to be appropriate. I mean, she did release the animals, and so that's the first order of business, is to make sure the remaining living dog is taken care of and found a good home. And I guess he did do that based upon the prosecution's actions and filing a case, and then her finally surrendering the dog. So the only thing I can do now is order some type of rehabilitation in the form of an animal cruelty class, because what she thinks is wrong and what's really wrong might be two different things. And this goes a little bit further than not feeding. I think you got to look at overall the condition that the animal is in and take immediate action, or surrender the animal if you can't afford to take care of it, but you have a decent job. So I don't even think that was the problem. You should have been able to be afforded to pay for the animal. And it's unfortunate that one of them had to die as a result of this because they couldn't be brought back. And I'm glad the other one was able to be brought back from the brink of death. So since the court here is going to be a term of 12 months of probation with $480 of oversight fees and a $500 fine. There was a warrant fee of $75. I'll waive that. The jail sentence is credit, 1 day credit for 1 day. She'll do 2 days community service at a nonprofit agency. No alcohol, no unprescribed drugs. Basically, I'm not going to order testing. She's going to go to an animal cruelty class, maintain her employment. You are to possess no animals yourself. I will allow your daughter's cat to be in the home with you under your daughter's supervision and care. Pay a $75 crime victims' rights fee and a $100 PSI, which is the pre-sentence interview fee. And I said community service 2 days. So that's going to complete the sentence of the court. There's a $100 bond that we can apply towards the fines and costs.
Thank you, Your Honor. Does that conclude this hearing?
Pretty much, you'll take her down to probation when the order is ready.
Thank you.
Mhm.